optimised. So this week, by talking about what I believe to be one of the most misunderstood drivers of practice success, and that is culture. Whether you're aware of it or not, you already have a culture in your practice. Culture is a bit like the petri dish. It's the environment that determines what grows and what dies. Now, Patty McCord, the former Chief Talent Officer at Netflix, she said there's a big difference between a team and a family. Teams change regularly and are optimized to win at all times, while families strive to stick together no matter what. When I first heard this quote, it stopped me. I pulled my car over, I wrote it down, and my mind was blown. So this week, I want to take just 10 minutes and ask yourself, am I building a family or am I building a team? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Welcome to another on-the-road version of the Marketing Your Practice podcast, the podcast where I have the pleasure of simplifying the marketing and the mindset so you, the chiropractor, can increase your income, your impact, and your enjoyment in practice too. Now, again, if you've been following along over this last couple of months, we've finally reached the final leg of a 9-part series where I've been walking you through the 7-figure lifestyle practice triangle. This is my framework helping you to build a high income, high enjoyment, low overhead practice as well. This triangle helps chiropractors solve the 3 biggest practice killing problems. Remember, there's only 3 things that are standing between you and the practice that you want. The first is nobody knows you, okay? That's a visibility problem. The first step in solving any problem is identifying what the problem is. The second one is no one stays, okay? This is a trust problem. We need to strategically know how to build trust in the initial consultation, in the reported findings, and the adjustment visits going forwards. And the third problem that we need to overcome that kills so many practices is no time. This is a leadership problem. It's not a time management problem. This is a leadership problem. The reason there's so many of us suffer with this problem is that we're going about correcting it the wrong way. Now, we've covered visibility and trust, and today we're going to wrap up the leadership side of things, that side of the triangle, by talking about what I believe to be one of the most misunderstood drivers of practice success, and that is culture, okay? Now, here's the thing. Whether you're aware of it or not, you already have a culture in your practice. Culture is a bit like the petri dish. It's the environment that determines what grows and what dies. It's the unwritten rules, it's the shared language, it's the expectations, it's the energy that your team walks into every day. And if you've ever thought to yourself, why do I have to repeat myself so much? Why doesn't anyone take ownership? Or why do I feel like I'm the only one that cares about this damn business? That's possibly not a staff problem. It's probably a culture problem. But here's the good news. Culture is not something that's fixed. It's not a personality. It's not luck. It's not something that you cannot do anything about. It is absolutely something that you can design. And in today's episode, I want to introduce you to the 3 essential components of a winning chiropractic culture. It's what I call the Chiropractic Culture Code. Now, these are 3 forces that shape how your team thinks, acts, and performs. The first of these is optimized to win. The second is safety and belonging. And the third is purpose and value-driven performance. So let's dive a little deeper into each of these, beginning with optimized to win. Now, a lot of chiropractors are unknowingly building family-style cultures. It feels warm, close, and loyal, but it's also incredibly messy. Now, there are low standards, blurred roles, and a whole bunch of unspoken resentments that end up coming. Winning cultures are different. They're not cold, but they are clear. Now, Patty McCord, the former Chief Talent Officer at Netflix, said it best. She said there's a big difference between a team and a family. Teams change regularly and are optimized to win at all times, while families strive to stick together no matter what, okay? When I first heard this quote, it stopped me. I pulled my car over, I wrote it down, and my mind was blown. Let me read that to you again. There's a big difference between a team and a family. Teams change regularly and are optimized to win at all time, while families strive to stick together no matter what. I told my children from the very youngest that there was nothing they could ever do that would ever stop them from being loved and cared for, okay? We are, as a family, we are optimized to stick together. Now, that is different, though, when it comes to my chiropractic team. Just about every challenge that I've ever had in my practice was because I was optimizing for family, not optimizing to win, okay? So this is where most chiropractic practices run into trouble. They're optimized to stick together, not to win. Now, they do this when we're optimized to win. We have clear job descriptions, we have performance reviews, we have KPIs, we have accountabilities, we have structured training. Now, the irony is most chiropractors avoid these things because they think it feels harsh and cutthroat. But the truth is, it's actually the kindest way to lead, because when expectations are clear, when the rules of the game are known, everybody gets a fair shot at winning. And here's the thing. Healthy humans want to improve. They want to get better at their work. And when you optimize for team, you give them the structure, the feedback exactly to do this. Now, of course, this only works when it's built on the next principle, and that is safety and belonging. In chiropractic, this means that we need to have job descriptions, training, feedback loops, regular reviews. This is not about micromanaging, but this is helping your team to win. Now, let's dive a little deeper now into safety and belonging. In the contrast of workplace culture, safety refers to an environment where team members feel physically, emotionally, and psychologically secure. It's a space where individuals can express themselves without fear of judgment, retaliation, or negative consequences. Now, when a team feels safe, they're much more likely to take risks, to innovate, and engage fully in their roles. That's worth saying again. When a team feels safe, they're much more likely to take risks, innovate, and engage fully in their roles. Safety is the foundation for open communication, collaboration, and trust. Now, belonging builds on safety by creating a sense of inclusion and connection. It means that every team member feels valued for who they are and sees their contributions as essential to the group's successes. So you can start to see how these two fit hand in glove. We're optimized to win, where everybody has a clear job description, KPIs, performance reviews. Yet this is built on safety and belonging. Great cultures make people feel safe to speak up, safe to ask questions, and safe to make mistakes, okay? Now, because safety is the foundation for innovation and initiative, and it's one of the things I hear from so many of you, is that my staff have no initiative. I feel like I need to tell them to do everything. And if they don't have initiative, it's often because there's not safety and belonging. When the team feels like they won't be punished for trying something new, creativity flows, ownership increases, and energy rises. And this means you have a team of people coming up with great ideas about how you can change your community. It takes an enormous weight off your shoulders and spreads it across the brilliant minds that you have in your team. Now, there's a story that illustrates this beautifully. At Facebook, senior executives would often kick off a Monday morning meeting by sharing the biggest mistakes they made in the week prior, and the room would often erupt into a standing ovation. Why? Because at Facebook, they understood that mistakes fuel growth and learning. Now, I want to be really clear here. We're not encouraging chaos or sloppiness, not for one moment. We're not celebrating repeated errors. We're saying it's okay to make mistakes. It's just not okay to keep making the same ones. So how do you go about actually building this into your practice? Well, there are 5 steps that I go into in tremendous detail with my clients, and I want to just touch on 3 of them here, 3 of the more important ones. And the first one is to show more vulnerability as a leader, okay? Leaders who show vulnerability create an environment of authenticity and trust. When you admit your mistakes, when you share the challenges that you're faced with, it sends a message that it's okay not to have all of the answers. This openness encourages your team to be more comfortable sharing their concerns and their ideas without fear of judgment. Vulnerability strengthens relationships, and it shows that everybody is learning and growing together. So that's the first thing, show more vulnerability. The second one is just predictable rhythms, okay? This could be as simple as a daily huddle, weekly team meetings, end of day check-ins. Predictability builds trust, okay? And it signals that you're not alone, you're not guessing. This safe environment must be built around predictability. And the third and final one here is one that many of us struggle with as well, and that is following through on what you say. If you say you're going to check in with somebody or review a training process, then do it. Follow through creates psychological safety more faster than almost anything. When your team knows they belong, they bring their best, they take initiative, they collaborate, and they stay. This is why safety and belonging is essential. The third component is a purpose and value-driven performance. Now, purpose and value-driven performance is about aligning your team's actions and decisions with a clear sense of purpose and the core values of your practice. This means creating a shared understanding of why your practice exists beyond just revenue, beyond just making money. It's okay to make money, but we need to communicate with key stakeholders why we exist beyond this. It's about connecting the work that you do and your team to a larger mission. Staff are naturally motivated by purpose. They want to feel that they're part of something bigger than themselves. When a team understands the purpose behind their work, it inspires greater engagement and commitment, and it leads to higher performance and fulfillment, okay? So it's more fulfilling, which means they stay around longer and they perform better. Both really good things. Values, though, are different. They act as a North Star that guide behaviors and decisions. You need to decide, what values does our practice have? They're particularly useful in situations that aren't black and white, okay? And many staff scenarios are not black and white. Lauren and I have seen this over the last 3 or 4 years in dealing with many tricky situations with staff members where we come back to our values to guide us, okay? Providing a consistent framework with values gives us a road path or a map on which to follow. Value-driven performance means that decisions and behaviors are always aligned with our core values. Now, this could be things like integrity or compassion or patient-centered. The team wants more than just a paycheck, okay? They want meaning. And in fact, if they have meaning, they'll likely take less of a paycheck. Now, I'm not suggesting that you don't pay your people great, but they want meaning more than a paycheck in most circumstances, okay? In high-performance practices, stories should be shared regularly to connect people with the impact that you're having. Core values should guide hiring and feedback and daily decisions. Recognition needs to follow both ways, from you to the team and from peer to peer. And when people feel connected to purpose and they see how their work matters, they'll show up differently, okay? So here's some things that you can do. Start a team meeting by sharing a patient win or a story that reflects your purpose. Now, again, sometimes our front desk staff don't get to see this, but I still love it when Lauren comes home and shares stories. 25, 6, 7 years as a chiropractor, and I still love, particularly with the tricky little kids that she's dealing with on a weekly basis, I love hearing these stories, and we need to be constantly repeating them to our front desk staff as well. Use your core values as a lens during performance reviews or hiring decisions. You can ask, which of our values did this person live out this month? Where were our staff doing really great? Where did they show integrity, initiative, commitment? Okay, recognize that. Post your purpose and your values somewhere visible in your practice, not just for patients, but for your team to anchor to. Encourage peer-to-peer recognition on your values. So it's not just coming from you, but it gets powerful, when another staff member says that, hey, thanks for staying back yesterday. That really showed compassion and commitment. Celebrate behaviors that align with your mission. Tie feedback to values so it reinforces the culture that you're building. Now, here's the punchline. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, you already have a culture. The question is it by design or is it by default? If your culture isn't aligned, your systems won't stick, your team won't perform, and you'll always feel like you're dragging your practice uphill. So let's quickly recap the 3 components of the Chiropractic Culture Code. The first of those was optimize to win. Build a team, not a family, okay? We have families in other areas, not in our practice. There needs to be clarity, expectations, accountability to allow everybody to perform at their best. This needs to be built upon safety and belonging, an environment where your team feels secure enough to speak up, take initiative, grow and make mistakes. And finally, it's purpose and value-driven performance. Anchor your practice in meaning and values so your team stays motivated, aligned, and inspired. So this week, I want to take just 10 minutes and ask yourself, am I building a family or am I building a team? What's one thing that I could do to create more safety and belonging? And are we living our purpose or are we just talking about it? You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Just start with awareness and then choose one lever to pull. Small steps done consistently build great culture by design. So folks, that wraps up our 9-part series as we've walked our way around the 7-figure lifestyle practice triangle. If you've missed any episodes, then go back, binge them. You might need to listen to them multiple times. They build on each other. And if you're ready to implement these ideas with coaching, support, and a community of some of the best like-minded chiropractors, then I'd love to invite you to come and join me inside of Community Influencer. It's our coaching program designed to help you build a high-income, high-enjoyment, low-overhead practice, and we do it all together. Thanks for listening, and as always, keep saving life, folks. See you back here next week. Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group coaching program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.